And we're back, Trinidad and Tobago, a content-driven program this evening with lots of information moving back and forth. Questions on one hand and answers are coming fast and furious. It's another edition of The Chair. Remember, The Chair is on twice a week now as we count down to the general election. That means we're on every Tuesday and Thursday night, usually from 9 o'clock. But that, of course, is subject to adjust given whatever political broadcast or special requests we get. Because, of course, this is the season, this is the time, and that means that things are very, very liquid and change is constant. So nonetheless, we're still proud to be here as we continue with this evening's program. Our special guest, Ms. Ramona Ramdial. And we're going to turn back to the panel to continue with the final phase of discussion in this evening's edition of The Chair. We're starting with ladies first. Let's go.
Hi, good night, Ms. Ramdial. I am Alicia Ramdial from the Youth Revolution. Pertaining to Ayana's question, molding your answer, yes, we haven't seen her much around, but my road is paved. My lights are up. I have lots of box drains, so I'm thankful for that. So thank you so much. You have done your job in your constituency.
Thank you. I wasn't aware.
As a young, passionate dancer, I would like to know what would you do to enhance youth development in cultural activities, because many rural areas have competitions to showcase their talents, and central we are limited to these options. And I would like to know what would you do to help or assist us in getting our talent out there.
All right. First of all, thank you very much. I wasn't aware you were a Couva North constituent, so thank you for that. With respect to youth involvement in cultural activities, I must make mention of the Carpichaima Carnival Committee. That carnival committee over the years, they have been responsible wholly and solely for the Monday night mass and the Monday carnival within that Carpichaima area. And because of that, the NCC has been able to fund the Carpichaima Carnival Committee for different workshops in dance, mass making, and other activities that are engaged, that we engage in when it's carnival. In addition to that, as Member of Parliament, I have been, of course, partnering with the NGOs of the area, Couva Corporate, the CBOs, the Shagwana's Chamber of Commerce, the Couva Chamber of Commerce. Couva Chamber of Commerce, they have the Sugar and Energy Festival that also encourages young people to take part and compete and, of course, win prizes at that level. But I understand what you're saying, the opportunities to further enhance. And I know that through the Ministry of Community Development, the Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism, they've been running workshops over the years. And however, at Couva, I have not had that high level of demand from the young people wanting to engage in dance especially. I know that there are a lot of private dance schools and dance studios. And of course, the young people go that avenue rather than seeking that sort of assistance from government. But of course, we will look into that, and probably I can make that idea or share that idea with my colleagues at these ministries to see how we can bring in a program as MPs in every constituency to encourage the young people into that drama and culture that you speak of. Yes? Thank you.
Good night again. I have one question, but in follow-up to Alicia, when I mentioned the question, paving roads and providing lights and providing water is things that you're supposed to do. Yeah, so
why was it never done before at such a level?
It wasn't done at that level.
Done in rural areas before?
That is why I said it's very commendable. However, these are things that you're supposed to do. I mean, and although Couva Road might be paved, sweetheart, the Rio Claro roads have not been paved.
All right, yes.
All right? And I understand that. I understand that. But these are things that the government is supposed to do. It is not just about Ms. Ramdial, but it's about the People's Partnership, having been in governance for 5 years.
Yes.
And here we have, from Princestown to Rio Claro, the roads are horrible. But when the Prime Minister has to go to Mayaro, she would jump in a helicopter and go to Rio Claro. They don't drive on that road. So why neglect certain areas? I mean, these are the things that the government is supposed to focus on. But my question is not about that. My question is in the 2015 Manifesto, People's Partnership, section 322, page 91. That area focuses on gender, and it says that they hope to address male underachievement to strengthen the productive male sector, and that is the vision, and I understand that, but I'm not too clear about the mission. How are you going to accomplish this addressing the male underachievement to strengthen the productive male sector? Just need a little clarity on that.
Okay. Over the years, we have seen statistics from the Ministry of Education has shown over the years that there are a lot of high school dropouts, especially with our young male citizens. And therefore, what we have embarked upon through the Ministry of Tertiary Education also is to expand that skills and vocational training sector. So not all of us are academically inclined. And therefore, when we looked at the statistics through Ministry of Education, a lot of the dropouts were from those young men who were not academically inclined and could not keep up with that level of education and work. And, you know, dropped off for a number of reasons. Some of them, as you know, the reality is some of them drop off and enter a life of crime. And, you know, that is why we have so much of our young people involved in that life of crime as we speak. So the Ministry of Tertiary Education has embarked upon that expansion of the vocational and skills training sector to allow for our young males especially to come and be trained and be given that certification so that they can now get sustainable jobs in the job market in Trinidad and Tobago. So that is one measure by which we are trying to increase the productivity and trying to bring back our young males into that fold of employment.
Mr. Ramdial, quick question again.
Yes.
Very eloquent so far in your responses. I must commend you.
Thank you.
If the Prime Minister was that on point, you would be a better place. But anyway, that's not the question. What has the partnership done in the past 5 years and I think 2 months or so to diversify the economy? Billions have been spent,
yes.
You know, a lot of money,
yes.
right? What have they done to really diversify the economy, bring back in our revenue into our, into the country?
Definitely. Now, you've heard us speak of sport tourism. That is one way that we are trying to diversify the economy, sport tourism. We have constructed the velodrome, the cycling velodrome in Couva. We have constructed, of course, the swimming center, and we also have a state-of-the-art, world-class lawn tennis center somewhere along the corridor that is about to be opened also. So what we are looking to do with these projects that we have embarked upon and completed within our 5 years is to encourage regional competitions and even international to an extent to come into Trinidad and compete and have the revenue brought in from tourists coming in to compete and athletes and all of that to diversify that area.
But is it bringing in a substantial amount of revenue?
Initially, no. But remember, it's a work in progress. You have to establish yourself. The marketing of Trinidad and Tobago as an area or center for sport tourism has to go out there. And through the Ministry of Tourism, they would be responsible for that aspect of marketing. So it will take a number of years to really get on board, but it is money well spent. We have created the enabling environment, and I love to use that word, enabling environment. We have created the enabling environment with respect to sport tourism. There are lots more that we intend to do with sport tourism. Medical tourism is another avenue where we are going to diversify, and I know that we approved that project to create a hospital for medical tourism for persons to come. As you know, our previous Prime Minister, Patrick Manning, went to Cuba for his medical treatment, and Cuba is well known for medical tourism. So we want to have that right here in Trinidad and Tobago. In addition to that, we are looking to approve and establish a dry dock right here in Port of Spain, along the area of where the ports are. So that is a project that has been approved, and it's a work in progress to diversify. Shipbuilding and ship repair, that port that we did in Labidco, the Labidco port that we speak about, that is to encourage the shipbuilding and ship repair so that our Latin American counterparts, when they're passing through our area, can stop off and have, that rehabilitation and refurbishment done.
Minister Ramdial, good night. One last question. In regards to, just to take you back, because it's weeks away from a couple of days before the election, so it's time we get political.
Yes.
Let me take you back to the screening process of the United National Congress. During the screening process, you would have been competing head-on with the Prime Minister's personal advisor, personal assistant, Barry Pradat. What was your initial reaction, and were you a bit concerned in terms of when finding out that you would be coming up against the Prime Minister's personal advisor? Initially, I was a little bit concerned, but I have been very confident. I've worked really hard over the past 5 years
within my constituency, so my track record speaks for itself.
Concern as to the fairness of the screening process?
Sorry?
Concerned as to, just to clarify, were you concerned as to the fairness of the screening process?
No, not at all, not at all. As I say, my track record spoke for itself. My screening went very well and positive. And at the end of the day, I was very confident that I did what was necessary to ensure a second term as Member of Parliament, running as a candidate for Member of Parliament.
So, just to follow up on that same point, there were a lot of conflict via social media between your supporters and also that of Barry's supporters.
Are you sure they're my supporters?
Well, I mean, they were factions, basically.
Right.
So, between that time to now, has you all now fully, because we saw that recently today, one of your former ministers, Minister Gypsy, seems to not be too happy with being rejected by the screening committee.
Right,
so, yes. I mean, really and truly, Stacey Rupnarine, initially I thought the feedback that the reports were that she didn't take it quite well as well. That being said, however, is it that everything is back hunky-dory and everybody is back on board and fully focused on, or is there still some sort of uneasiness?
I will put it down to the healthy competition and the democracy of the People's Partnership in terms of the process that we engage with respect to screening. Stacey Rupnarine supports this party, supports the partnership. She continues to work with us. And she, of course, would soon be, of course, given something in the event that we win. She would be considered. Barry and I are colleagues. We work well together, and therefore I'm very happy for his selection and all of that. But really and truly, the screening committee and the whole process of candidates and screening and all of that, even the PNM themselves.
So just one quick
Yes,
question.
sure.
If she wasn't good enough to present to the electorate in a hotly contested election, why now? The Prime Minister spoke about that. They said that Camille Robinson-Regis was brought back and just she was just basically shipped. So is it now that you're saying that the Prime Minister is now practicing that of a predecessor in terms of they were not good for electoral politics, but yet still you force them back when we give you something?
No. What you see, when you are in government, there are lots of roles that and lots of places that one can fit into, not necessarily central government. There are other avenues, there are other places. Ms. Rupnarine is an engineer by profession. That's her background, and who knows? It depends on the individual at that point in time. So I really can't answer for her.
Ms. Ramdial,
yes.
Good evening again. I have another campaign-related question. Now, I expect you to answer as a politician, but try to answer as Ramona, the human being. Right?
Okay. Was I an animal?
For lack of a better expression, right? This No Rowley campaign,
yes,
it concerns me, honestly. Not remove the fact that I support the PNM, right? Because at the end of the day, we are one Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
We are
yes.
one people. Right? I have do you support this campaign? Yes, it is aligned with your party, the People's Partnership, but the basis on which this campaign is moving forward, I have a serious problem with it, because I believe that, it's being put forward by people who aspire for leadership, and leaders have to set examples, and
yes.
I don't believe that trying to put, put down somebody like that.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate it.
But I mean, I'm answering you honestly here. I have looked at it. I've seen Mr. Rodney Charles, on TV and all of that. And really and truly, there is no attack on his personal character. It's about...
Really? Yes. You'll say he's aggressive. You'll call him angry.
Because I know they spoke about, in the No Rowley campaign, they spoke about the vanity project. I know that, I'm aware of that. They labeled the rapid rail as a vanity project, and they talk about the cost of it and all of that. But I really...
Yeah,
it is part of the what?
They went to media houses with rubber chickens,
the what campaign?
calling Rowley a coward.
Morning campaign? The modern campaign. Well, it's a strategy. It is a strategy. I support the angle where they speak about the facts. in terms of the Rapid Rail project, the money spent, the no plan for Trinidad and Tobago. I share that vision, yes. I am not in support of personal attacks, and therefore I have not really heard or seen the personal attack, but I know of the vanity project. The what? Oh yes, and she did apologize. She did apologize.
Good night.
Yes.
As my colleague just mentioned, Ms. Toppin, because I was about to ask about that, as a woman,
yes,
because we're getting a little personal here, how do you actually feel about Ms. Toppin's accusations, and how can we be certain that this would not happen again, and what's the party's official stance? Because she apologizing doesn't mean anything, because if she stood up in Parliament to say it, that means she meant it. And her apology doesn't mean anything.
Personally, as a member of Parliament, I did not support those comments. No, I wasn't. If you look at the clip, if you go back to Hanson and you look at the clip, I was not pounding the desk at all. I was just there listening, yeah? And yes, I was a bit offended. I did not support that and the manner in which it was done. And to give her a little bit of credit, she did apologize. But I know, a little bit of credit. She did apologize. But I must say that in the wake of all of that happening, we took a decision to not go there. And of course, to sanction our members and those in Parliament, you know, to be very cognizant of the fact that it's our counterpart, our colleagues in Parliament, whether they're the opposition or government, it's something that we just don't support.
Final 2 minutes, folks, so let's get the questions as quickly as possible.
All right, good night, Mr. Ramdial again.
Make it tight and short.
I don't know how short this one could be.
That's why I said it to Edwin. I said 2 minutes, and I know the question could take 2 minutes. Let's go, Edwin, let's go.
I know we spoke off camera about your understanding of the first past the post system.
Yes.
Knowing that there are 4 primary pillars on which the first past the post system fails the electorate. The fact that minority rule can exist, it inevitably leads to a two-party system, that the spoiler effect is very real, and that gerrymandering is not addressed in first past the post system.
1 minute.
Are you willing to sponsor legislation to move our country from the first past the post system into mixed member proportional representation?
Definitely.
And if so, why?
Definitely. In the last local government election, which was 2 years ago, we kind of introduced proportional representation. That is why the ILP was able to have aldermen in some of these corporations, because of the formula that we instituted. So yes, we support proportional representation. That calls for constitutional reform. We were about to bring, we did actually bring the bill in the Senate for the runoff, because as you know, first past the post is not really accepted globally anymore. It's not the way that you want to go as a population with respect to having proper representatives for the people. And therefore, we are about constitutional reform and having proportional representation included.
Well, Mr. Ramdial, excuse me, good night. Sorry, your question is over, sir. No. Honestly, I believe that as a politician, as a politically exposed person, we can ask you any number of official questions as to what are your plans to move our country forward.
Yes.
And we will get a very detailed, well put together answer. My issue as a young voter is the trust to place in our honorable Prime Minister.
Yes.
After having to change for one number or for one issue or another, a number of ministers and people in leadership positions in our country, how can I trust her judgment? And what do you have to say to me on this question? How can I trust her judgment moving forward for the next 5 years if these are the individuals that she herself has put in these positions to move the country as a whole forward?
Very good question. And it's how I would like to end. Previous governments, both UNC and PNM in the past, a lot of ministers in the history of Trinidad and Tobago and governance, they have been, of course, identified as corrupted. Some of them would have been identified as corrupted, prosecuted, all of that, right? And we have seen leaders of past government protect those individuals. In our current standing and part of the People's Partnership, the Prime Minister took a decision that in light of any wrongdoing, her ministers were going to take the full brunt of it and, of course, be responsible for their actions. And her words were, if you mess up, you have to go. And that is what we have seen to date. The Prime Minister has not just pointed out to certain members of Parliament and dismissed them without good reason. It is because they have been in some scandal, allegation, prosecution, something that has gone wrong with them. Now, it's all about the leadership. When we speak about leadership, remember we are all humans, and at the end of the day, the Prime Minister may have seen a quality in that person, quality of value that can be bought in government in 2010. And during the course of the tenure of that person, he or she may have messed up, and at that point in time, the Prime Minister took the decision to remove that individual. And that is a woman of great strength and a leader of great strength. For you to be able to do that to your own cabinet and to your own people shows that you have the country's interests at heart. Because as a young person, you don't want to have a minister identified and fingered for corruption, and that person is still working for you. Evidence, with evidence.
Okay.
And he was dismissed.
All right. No,
He was dismissed.
We've got time for one more question. So we've got the young lady at the back with our final question.
Hi, my name is Amanda from New Revolution, Kamala 2015. My question is pretty simple, right? So what I want to know is, what are your new innovative ways of putting a place for youth within your constituency? What are your plans to have the voice of the youth, to give us a way of saying what we want and how we want it?
Okay. Well, we have been very much accommodating to the young people within the constituency of Couva North. I will speak on that level as a member of Parliament. I have constructed 2 empowerment centers to date in my constituency where, of course, the young people after school have a place to go to. And these empowerment centers, one is located in Bank Village and the other one is at Chase Village, a new building that is about to be opened. And as the Prime Minister has reiterated, and being a previous teacher myself, I really think that education is the key out of poverty for our young people especially. And therefore, I am trying to inculcate and to mirror that vision by constructing these empowerment centers with IT labs, programs, tutoring, persons who volunteer to come and tutor students after school hours, and just a place for the young people to go to so that they don't end up on the drug block lineman after school, or they don't jump into a maxi and they disappear for a number of hours and then they come home to their parents and, parents don't know what's going on. We live in a society where both parents are working in this day and age, and therefore oversight of our young ones are somewhat lessened or lost to a certain extent. So I am trying to bring back the young people to education through these empowerment centers. I'm very, very proud of that achievement, and I will continue to work for the young people of Couva North.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Folks, this has been a fantastic session. I want to take time out to, of course, thank Minister Ramdial, the first female guest on the program since the series has begun. And I want to wish candidate Ramona Ramdial all the best in the upcoming election. I mean, the days go by, the hours tick on, and the time is getting more and more intense. And we're counting down with a level of anxiety that, believe you me, is growing as we move on down the road. On Thursday, we've got another edition of The Chair. Who will be sitting in it? You'll find out by tomorrow. I'm sure that Stefan and the cast are working diligently to... It's getting tougher right now to get people to sit in the chair because everyone's busy with the walkabout. You said you came from a walkabout.
3-hour walkabout.
And we want to thank you for...
That's it. Okay.
And I'm hoping, I mean, a lot of the questions tonight was, of course, directed to our Honorable Prime Minister, and we are lobbying very hard to have her in the chair at some point in time before the election. And we're working on that, folks. Let's see what happens. So again, Trinidad and Tobago, thank you for your time. Thank you for viewing. And remember, you can join us again on Thursday, hopefully at 9 p.m. for another edition of The Chair right here on STV Real TV. On behalf of the entire cast, my name is Brian Haynes. Thank you, and have yourself a very good evening.
Them constitution long time it need a joke. Fed up of promises and hopeless hope. Ballot box must be empty, vote house closed. No one arm, no one choose the color of them clothes now. But some just plain greedy. No matter how we teach, they'll forget